Linebacker 2 when we started bombing North Vietnam. Linebacker 1 and 2. So I was at Udorn when all the guys became aces. We shot down a lot of MiGs during that time. They did. I say we, America.
Yep.
So I was there for all that and all the parties in the club. And you mentioned Roger Locker the other night.
Yeah.
I was there when they brought him back in, and
Were you really?
In the club that night, and the party that was going on. And then actually, that's another side story. My buddy Zeke Encinas, the same guy I mentioned. Well, you know Zeke, huh? Or did?
I
know of him.
Byron Huckey was his wingman that day he got killed.
Right.
And Zeke was very well thought of.
Well, Zeke's one I was talking about earlier. They came dragging into the club and said, "Where the hell you been, man?" And then he came over to Udorn, or called me, but I can't remember how the hell he would have called me, but he was there. He came over and he asked me, he said, "Hey, you flying these unmarked airplanes over in the back. You think I'll arrange one? Will you fly us up to Chiang Mai?" He wanted the rescue party for Roger Locker wanted to go on a little retreat. And he had with him, I happen to remember the guy's name, the Jolly Green pilot that picked up.
Dale Stovall.
Dale Stovall.
Yeah.
And the two of them were there, and I said, "Yeah." And Zeke says, "Hey, I went, well," he said, "I want to be your co-pilot." Again, instructor pilots, I can fly with unqualified people. And the C-47's easy to fly, one guy. He said, "I'm a tailwheel pilot. Can I sit in the other seat?" And I said, "Sure." And so he says, "I'll get it arranged." And a couple days later, I got a phone call from somebody, I don't know who it was, some colonel, and he says, "What the hell do you think you're doing? You want to take one of my airplanes and with only one pilot and take all these guys on a trip? And that's not going to happen. I'm not going to let that happen with my airplane." And to this day, I ask everybody, I come to these things, whose airplanes were they? Because they always told me. I mean, I got checked out by a guy in civilian clothes, and he brought his two kids with him. They're 10 or 12 years old. And we went down to Bangkok. He wanted to ride with me to see if I could fly the airplane. Came back with a load of Air America cargo. And then I flew, I won't go into all the details, but I asked him one time, "Hey, do you think I could take one of those airplanes and go to Bangkok sometime?" He said, "Yeah, when do you want to go? I'll put it on here." And I could just go anywhere. And they said, so we went a couple times. I took the airplane, and he said, "Just don't try to buy gas at a military base or from the Air Force. These airplanes don't exist." And he says, "You can get fuel from Air America, but you can't get it from the Air Force." And this guy's cussing me out. He's not going to let Zeke and Dale Stovall and take it, but I don't know whose airplane to this day. And it's interesting, another part of it, one of them, I don't remember the tail number, I have it in my logbook, it crashed in El Paso, Texas, about 2 years after the war ended. And how the hell that airplane got from the back of the Air America ramp in Udorn to El Paso, Texas.
I got a pretty good idea. We'll talk after this.
Okay.
I got a pretty good idea on how that happened.
I might have too, but it would be fun when we're...
That's one of those things, that's total conjecture, and there's been enough pieces that I've heard over time that maybe, depending on where it wound up at the end of Vietnam or South Vietnam when it fell, how did it get to, I got an idea.
Well, that's one tidbit of my story too. We We had several trips to Encinas, and we'd spend time on the ground there, 4 or 5 hours, waiting for our VIP customer to come back. And sometimes we took Air Force generals, I forget their names, 2, 3-star generals that wanted to go to Laos. They'd come to Udor and go in our restroom, change their clothes into civvies, and then we'd take them up there in the civilian clothes, you know. We gotta wait for them to come back. But one of my time there, sometimes we go into town, sometimes we just stay at the airport. I went into Continental Air Services and asked, I met the guy Dick Douglas, who was a chief pilot for STOL operations. So I'd like to, what I need to do to work here. And we talked for a while, and he says, well, as soon as you get out of the Air Force, I'll give you a job. And so I spent the next 1.5 years trying to get out of the Air Force, and the war ended before I did, so I never went back to go to work for them.
Those were some cool aircraft.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine that would ferry those to South America, and he and another guy, they'd take 2, and they were discussing, if an engine goes out over the ocean, what's your plan? And the one guy said, I'm just going to point the nose down. I don't want to be out there swimming with the sharks. He's thinking, there's nobody out here to save you.
Yeah. So I had a lot of...
Lagos, Nigeria is where they were ferrying those 2.
Oh, yeah. You go across over to the island out there.
Yeah.
Getting old. Don't remember those names.
That's fine.
And so I had a lot of varied experience in 2 years, and I got 1,000 hours in EC-47 1 year, 1,000 hours at Udor in the second year. You don't get 1,000 hours a year in the Air Force.
It's a lot of flying.
Yeah, and of course we were flying 5 or 7 hours a day, so
it added up.
Yeah.
So your technical designation, you were in the Air Force, but you flew in sterile aircraft most of the time?
Not most of the time, but the Air Force airplane, there was EC-47.
Okay.
We just, there's no question that the Air Force owned them, and we were Air Force people, but they wanted us to
not look like Air Force people.
Yeah.
I got you.
And this story they told us, which if we got shot down in the EC-47, they wanted the security service people that had a lot of knowledge of secret stuff. They didn't know who they were or who some dumb pilot is, you know. And so I don't know any secrets. Don't beat me up.
I'm just flying the plane, man.
Yeah. And you know, Baron 5-2 was the call sign with Baron. It was EC-47. They got shot down in Laos a week after the ceasefire, and everybody died there. And that's another big controversy that you're probably aware of. But
that one I hadn't heard of. So Baron 47?
5-2.
Baron 5-2.
But they found the bodies of all 4 aircrew members, but they didn't find one body of security service people. And the big conspiracy thing is they were spirited off to North Vietnam or to Russia or to China or somewhere, never to be seen again. They're still MIA. And
Duke, one of the security police, was saying in '75, after the war was over, there'd be F-4s that would land at NKP, and they were shot to pieces. And he's, this is well after